good evening to you. I'll withdraw the word good immediately. If you're at home, congratulations for reaching home. I hope your boat is moored successfully outside your house. We've all been rowing in here tonight, and I'm delighted to say that we do, despite the horrendous weather conditions, have a full studio for our Thursday night session of Sporting Chat, which will be really wide-ranging tonight. We've virtually put this show together as we go along, and it means, whereas at one stage I feared I'd be sitting here on my own because of the weather conditions, it means you have the bonus not only of the studio guests and focusing on Sheffield United women and their success this season, you also have the bonus of recent interviews with two Blades legends over the years who've gone on to become global legends in Kyle Walker and Harry Maguire. Brilliant interviews conducted by this fella. Explains the presence of Azz Maguire. You've probably Azz Mohamed. You've got sick of the sight of him. He's already been reading the news on your screens. But quite recently, he interviewed both those guys, and they were fascinating interviews. And they're well worth, clips of them are well worth repeating tonight if you haven't seen. A warm welcome to Richard Laverty, who is an esteemed journalist and writer on women's football, which is an expanding area. Richard, welcome. You've come all the way down the motorway from West Yorkshire this evening, so really grateful to you. And even though closer to home, Sheffield women's Kasia Lipka has arrived even more heroically, not only having recovered from a cruciate ligament injury that required an 18-month layoff, but even more impressively, you've walked in here tonight.
I have. Commitment.
It is commitment. From your home in Walkley, was it?
Walkley, yeah. Yeah.
Right, so that's an extra fitness test.
Yeah.
And your arrival, I mean, are you walking back as well?
Yeah, I think so.
Are you?
Yeah,
That'll
probably.
be part of the strength. Congratulations.
Well, you've answered that for an hour.
Yeah.
That's what came now.
Commit you to it, but it's uphill, you know, on the way back.
It is.
You know
Everywhere's uphill in Sheffield, isn't it?
It's, well, near enough, yeah. Can I congratulate you on behalf of everybody on your recovery from this injury, which,
Thank you.
You know, we all have heard of the anterior cruciate ligament, and it can spell horrific circumstances, even career-ending circumstances for players. So, you know, how worrying a time for you has it been?
Yeah, like you said, it's when you hear those words, you just think, you know, you're not even sure if you're going to be able to get back playing. It used to be a career ender, and obviously now a lot of players come back from it, but it's just been a really tough challenge for me, physically and mentally. Yeah. So yeah, I'm now there, and I got some minutes on the pitch last night, which was great.
This was your comeback to competitive playing?
Yeah.
For the development team?
For the development side, yeah, I got half an hour yesterday, which just felt amazing just to be back on the pitch.
And all went well?
Yeah, all went well, yeah.
It's that first challenge, I suppose, and, you know, just competing and emerging unscathed.
Yeah, and we spoke about earlier, just kind of trying to not think about the injury and just feel my way into the game and not think about my knee and just feel really confident. I'm stronger now than I was before, so I've got to think about that and just be confident playing. Well,
that's very good news indeed. And it's particularly good in that you're from Sheffield born, and your association with Sheffield United goes back a heck of a long way.
Yeah.
You wouldn't believe it, 20 years.
Yeah, 20 years, yeah. So I started at 6 at the academy and was there for 10 years. I went away for 10 years and now I'm back, so yeah, 20 years in total.
We'll talk more about that in your development later on. Richard, it's fantastic to see, and I know you're very close to the subject, great to see, just, you know, almost mirroring the success of the Premier League team, which is 6th in the Premier League, and Sheffield United women are 3rd in what is the championship of the FA Women's Super League.
Yeah, the team are doing really well, and you know we've got a quality group of players this season. We've built on last season's success relatively. You know, we won 7 games in a row at the end of last season, and you know, Carla's recruited so well over the summer. The new signings have made a massive impact. The players that were here last year, the likes of Jade and Sam Tierney and Maddie Cusack, so you know they've all been absolute quality. So yeah, it's good times at the minute for both. Obviously, like you said, the men as well. Even the academy teams are doing well. So yeah, it's a great time to be involved with Sheffield United, whatever level.
Jade Pennock, a sensational form. I think she scored in, what was it, something like 11 of her last 13 starts, and today richly deserved honour has got the player of the month. Yeah, for the FA Women's Championship.
Yeah, I think you know she deserves it. I don't think there's been probably over the course of 2019. I don't think there's been a more consistent player when you look at those stats in terms of how many goals she scored. It sort of started back in March, this run, and it's coincided with the team's form. And yeah, every time she goes on the pitch now, even if she's not scoring, she's assisting. So you almost get surprised now when she doesn't score. So I think Player of the Month. It's probably been a long time coming, to be honest with you, but yeah, she thoroughly deserves it.
Absolutely. I've only seen one recent game. In fact, it goes back to last season. It was a victory over Aston Villa. She stood out to me in a right-side midfield role, and she's scoring all those goals from midfield. Quite fantastic. I mean, you can have a view on that, obviously.
Yeah, in terms...
You're a midfield player yourself.
Yeah, and just in terms of the amount of goals that we're scoring with top scorers in the league, just our front three, just all the attacking players have just been brilliant. And yeah, Jade's just ruthless in front of goal.
Okay, we'll bring Azz in a moment to talk about the fascinating extended interview clips that we have with Kyle Walker and with Harry Maguire. We're going to hear from Kyle Walker in part one. Bring him in a moment, but we do have some action from one of your several famous victories this season when you beat Liverpool. We'll look at a video of that shortly. But first, let's have a look at the league table, because I referred to it earlier. There we are, Sheffield United in third place there, and it's only one promoted, I think, Richard, from this section this season to the Premier.
Yeah, and it's going to be massively competitive. It was a little bit frustrating the other week. Obviously, we drew at home to Charlton, and it was the same day that Aston Villa drew, so we kind of missed an opportunity to close that out. But I think what's our next game? The next 4 games are the 4 teams all around us, aren't they? Lewis, London Bees, Durham, and London City. So we play all those 4 teams before Christmas. So it's a massive run of games now, and obviously the more of those we can win. I think we've got Villa straight after Christmas, so it's a very important run of games we've got now. Yeah,
competitive position. With a game in hand, you would win it and you go into second place. And you must be absolutely champing at the bit to join this, get involved.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the team's just started the season so well. I'd just love to get involved. And we've got 7 games before Christmas, so hopefully if we can win all of those, that'd be a really good position to go into the break with.
Great. I'll talk in a minute about how the success of the men's team might have rubbed off and how close an allegiance you have. I know that the men's players are very supportive and you see them every day. But just before, our man Azz Mohamed. Now, tell us about the circumstances of these 2 fantastic coups for Sheffield Live TV. I think we're going back to the end of 2017, but many people won't have seen these.
No.
Interviews with Kyle Walker and Harry Maguire. How on earth did you get those?
That's right. Obviously, now these 2, as we all know, legends in the game.
Yeah.
And they've started from the bottom and they've worked their way up. So both have been at Sheffield United. Great players, good defenders.
Just a bit.
Well, you look at Harry Maguire, and 80 million to be one of the most expensive defender. That goes without saying, let's be honest.
He was the world's most expensive, wasn't he?
Exactly, 100%. And then you've got Kyle Walker, and obviously he's gone up the ranks. He's gone to Tottenham and then to Man City, and now what we've seen recently, goalkeeping.
Yes, this week.
Imagine.
Yeah, and doing very, very well indeed, and saving some shots. And both products of Sheffield United's academy. I know that I'm pretty sure that Chris Wilder's, even though it's harder to bring kids through from the academy than it was,
certainly,
is pretty keen to get that conveyor belt rolling again towards the first team. So we'll be looking at those interviews, and you did it with a colleague, yes. Stevie Nicholas, right?
Yeah, this was obviously we had a show, but we initially around that time, there will be another one coming soon. I know some people have asked for it. It is coming the 2nd season. Now this was a show called Who What Where, I think you remember.
Yeah.
We went around, we spoke to celebrities, footballers, etc. about their life and where they started and where they ended up. So luckily, we started off with Kyle Walker, and he has an interesting past, no doubt, from where he's come from the flats, and then going to schools, local schools in Sheffield, and then the way he's gone on to Tottenham, with, obviously, we can't forget Cal Norton as well. Now, these 2 were part of a package when they went across. So to do all that and then achieve what they've achieved, both players, Harry Maguire and Kyle Walker, I think it's remarkable, and the position they find themselves in right now.
What's remarkable is that you managed to pull them in for an interview, and it was well timed too. I'm sure if I put a request in, I'd still be waiting in 3 or 4 years' time, the way things have gone. So that's to look forward to in both parts. But meantime, we go back to the women's success and the first teams. And are you pretty much training, sharing the same facilities, virtual side by side almost, aren't you? So see each other every day.
Yeah, so we're basically the academy where the men train as well. So it's nice to feel just part of that sort of one club ethos, really. Just to see them around and about is really good.
How much encouragement do you get? Do you get an interest taken in what you're doing? Do some of them come to games even?
We have had in the past, yeah. I remember Jack O'Connell came to one last year. We've had Tony Curry.
His partners.
Yeah, I mean, Tony Curry comes down to a few games as well, and it's great. You know, I mean, Sam Tierney posted her goal on Instagram the other day, and Billy Sharp left a really nice message. And yeah, even on the media side, you know, we had a few girls down doing a match of the day thing the other night down at RRTC, and John Egan and Enda Stevens were down there, but you know the club sent 2 of our players as well. Ali Johnson went down and Ellie Fletcher, so you know they're not left out of anything. They're in the same building, they use the same gym, they eat in the same canteen, and yeah, on the media side as well, you know the women do just as much as the men in terms of when we do things as a club, they're not left out.
No, we're mentioning Ali Johnson there. Sympathies to her. She was due in. She was billed as one of the guests, but I mean, she lives over in deepest Lancashire somewhere. So the fact that she's not been able to get in tonight is no real surprise. Maybe another time. Does the first team's very much on the front foot, and that kind of football's been established. Carla Ward is doing a great job, obviously, as your manager. Is it a similar philosophy, would you say, or not?
Yeah, I would say so. I've been really impressed with. Well, I've watched a few of the men's games, and just defensively how sort of strong they are, but also how fluid they play. So they've sort of you've got the centre half overlapping full back, and just I think that's something maybe we can develop more in our game as well.
I was going to ask you if you've got any overlapping centre backs.
We could try not to.
Not at the moment.
I'm not sure how happy Leandro would be.
But that's something to work on. Yeah, it's pretty unusual at any level, really, to find centre backs who are capable of doing that. Actually,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
you know. But
I wonder how long they can get away with doing that before other teams start to click on.
they don't do it all the time.
They
that's the
don't,
thing,
but
and
that's-
it's an interchanging thing. Yeah.
Something to look at, no doubt, maybe.
Yeah, you've had some famous victories. We're going to look at one of them, but you had a 5-1 over Crystal Palace, I think.
Yeah.
A 7-1 against Leicester this season, but the one that perhaps has given the squad greatest pride is going to Merseyside. It's actually at Prenton Park, Tranmere, and beating Liverpool.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
this was in the cup, wasn't it?
Yeah, in the League Cup, that was just an amazing day, really, for everyone involved. Just to know that we can compete at that level, playing a Super League side, and matching them all the way, and then going on to win in the last minute or added time, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Jade, yeah. That was
3-2.
just amazing. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, we're going to have a look at the goals from that 3-2 victory now. Here we go. Who's
Yeah, I mean, Katie Wilkinson, I mean, she's just been unbelievable. I think she's got 10 goals in 9 games now. We just didn't have that kind of striker last
the
season.
header just ruled over the
We
line.
needed a bit of VAR for that. Not sure who that was hitting the bar on the rebound.
There's no VAR, was there? But
And then, yeah, Maddie, I mean, she doesn't score many, does she, Maddie? But
what a goal that is.
that was, I think, 87th minute or something.
Was it?
Wardy there going.
Yeah.
And then this just went in slow motion, didn't it? Like, you just wondered where it was dropping.
That's real-time speed. It wasn't deflected.
No,
It just drifted in.
had to be Jade as well. Like,
Jade
just-
Pennick, yeah. Fantastic. I think we ought to. I tell you what, in part 2, if you missed that, because it happened quite quickly, we'll rerun that if we've got time.
Yeah, I don't think we get tired of watching those
in
goals,
part
do we?
2.
I mean, when you watch these kind of games, you think, obviously, if those people who play FIFA, They're the type of goals that you see on FIFA when you're playing those games, and to score like that. Wow.
Well, that second goal was a wonderful strike. Just who was that again?
Maddie was outstanding in that match as well. And like I said, she scored another worldie a week later, didn't she, against Coventry?
Did she?
She'd only scored one.
Left
She'd only scored one goal for us before that, and then she scored 2 absolute worldies in a week. So
absolutely no fluke. There's plenty more to discuss. About how you're doing and how you're doing it in part 2. But let's go now to my friend here's Coup, prize capture. Well, only one of them actually. And this was when you spoke to Carl Walker. You mentioned how against Atalanta this week in the Champions League, he played a heroic role as goalkeeper in a 1-1 draw after Claudio Bravo was sent off. And this interview was recorded.
I'd say it was probably towards the end of 2017.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shall we join the conversation?
Why not?
Yeah.
Looking back at it now, I probably didn't realise what I've got myself into.
Yeah.
I never played Sunday League football, so that was my first club football that I played. Sheffield United back then was actually a school of excellence, so it wasn't an academy. So we used to play, teams like Tranmere, Borough, Bradford, rather than what they're playing now at this day and age. Your Liverpool, Manchester United, Man Cities and stuff like that. So it was literally just a kickabout for me. Where my dad used to take me, I used to have the kit on. He said Sheffield United School of Excellence, and we used to just go and play football.
Speaking of that, how did you fit in then when you went for the first time into Sheffield United? How did everyone else see you? Because you came from Football United Racism Divide.
I wouldn't really know.
Was it scary going into that?
No, because I was a centre forward, but I was pretty decent at that age, so it was like
Did you already know you were good anyway?
No, because at the age of 13, 14, I stopped, developing a little bit. Actually, I've probably been older. I've probably been about 15, 16. I stopped and everyone just carried on going.
Yeah, we heard that at one point they said to you that you weren't going to make it as a professional.
No, they wasn't going to give me a scholarship.
And one of the academy directors down there, well, not academy, development at the time said to you that, you're too small.
Yeah, too small. And my dad, I can remember having a conversation with my dad and he's saying to me, we might have to take you to Chesterfield or Scunthorpe or something like this because I don't feel that you're going to get in. And that's the time where I had to sit back and kind of think, I need to make sacrifices in my lifestyle and what I'm doing now to get to where I want to be.
When you went back to Sheffield United on loan, how did the rest of the players see you then at that point? Because they'll have known back in their mind.
Yeah, I think just the same.
Well, obviously, you've gone from a stage like financially, you're on a certain amount of money at Sheffield United, then all of a sudden you get this contract at Tottenham. Now, I can't imagine what it must have been like, you in that board meeting, signing for Tottenham, getting your signing on fee, going to the bank, putting your credit card details in.
And it's saying card declined.
And then all of a sudden you're seeing a number there that looks like a calculator. You must have been like at first, wow. But obviously some players will be like, right, that's it, I'm spending it, I'm buying this, I'm buying that, I'm going on. Because you're going from nothing to all of a sudden having something which you've never even dreamed of having, like it's financially. It must have been so different for you.
How did you deal with that situation?
Just stayed the same. Ask my mates now. I'm still the same. Listen, if I need something, then I'll get it. If I don't need it, I don't.
So you're careful with your money?
Yeah, I think you just need to... I've got kids now, so I'm playing football for myself mainly, and because I love the game, but I'm also doing it for their future. And for my mum and dad, and just to help everyone out.
Fascinating stuff. As Carl Walker talking to Azz Mohamed here, and also Stevie Nicholas. There you go. You can say that you've been on the same programme as Carl Walker, can't you? And I can as well. So can you. You were actually. I was really impressed that you were in a beer garden there, and there were no drinks in front of you.
Well, you know how TV and drinks work.
Yeah, they're behind the camera.
I'm not saying anything.
Anyway. We've got more where that came from, and Harry Maguire in part 2, which is something to look forward to. I hope everybody's home, safe and sound now. Don't do what we've done and travel through the rain. But that fitness test, I hope, pays off for you. And did you feel? I know you're too professional to celebrate, but did you feel like celebrating after that comeback game last night?
Yeah, definitely. Sort of when I came off, I had a bit of a tear in my eye just to think of the journey that I'd come through and the amount of sort of barriers I'd come through on the way, and I'd overcome them. Just felt sort of proud of myself, and now I feel like I'm ready to kick on. So.
Rightly so.
Yeah.
Thanks very much indeed. We'll allow a 5-minute break, shall we?
I think so.
Sort of half-time break. And do rejoin us with Rich Laverty, with Cash, and with Az, and with Harry Maguire. See you in 5.